Hello everyone, greetings from the 7th of Nero, AJ here, and I guess it's been a while. Hopefully I can get back to a semi-regular schedule of lore videos covering any number of subjects, including the Faction Intro series, which was supposed to be ended months ago. We'll see how we go. Anyway, in a slight departure from pure lore presentations, I'd like to give a few thoughts and hopes on the Kickstarter campaign for the new edition of the Iron Kingdoms RPG that started a couple days ago, and how the expansions for it will go. I've missed a few things here and there with the goings-on of the company and the community in the last couple of months, but caught the start of the funding campaign, which closes on the 12th of February 2021, as a little warning to those who have been living under a rock lately and, perhaps by some miracle or other, first heard about it here. Unlikely, but still. Links in the description to the trailer on Privateer Press's YouTube channel and the Kickstarter itself. Firstly, congratulations to Privateer for getting funded in about 3 hours. I missed the start because, well, time zones. So I woke up to find out that the target had been well and truly smashed. And I'm reluctant to do a at time of recording update on the campaign's progress, mainly because it hasn't really let up steam, so any figure I provide is likely to be quite wrong. Along the way, the campaign itself and by association Privateer Press have provided some teasers of content from the Monsternomicon with the characteristic quips and comments from the good professor, as well as the setting-specific classes. Well, one of them. The campaign is relatively straightforward in what it'll offer, and I won't go into the stretch goals given their relative simplicity. Suffice to say, the core of it is 3 books and their digital equivalents covering the campaign setting supplement, the Legend of the Witchfire campaign module, and the Monsternomicon, along with a few gameplay aids and the Games Master screen to go with it. While this latter piece can be obtained from the early bird special, because my sense of scheduling sucks somewhat, it is no longer available, because this video is going up quite a bit more than 48 hours after the campaign start. But it can still be ordered as an add-on. Miniatures as additional add-ons will be curated when the backer kit goes live. I won't go into detail here as everything would just be reading from the official pages. Nevertheless, as someone who, only partly tongue-in-cheek, identifies more with a faction the less overtly human it is, and in some respects the less overtly civilized it is, IKRPG Unleashed was great. However, the lack of official IKRPG content covering the lore of Krix, Ios and Raw, at least as compared to the titular Iron Kingdoms, during the 2D6 era was a source of some disappointment. More is the case that there was less during the 2D6 era than during the first iteration of the RPG. Thus, it's only natural that my biggest hope is that when the REQUIEM equivalent of Kings, Nations and Gods is released, it'll come as a unified document covering all the recognized nation-states of Imoran, similar to the original 3rd edition D&D compatible Iron Kingdoms World Guide, albeit with every nation given a full treatment, perhaps including Bemoth. A couple pages dedicated to the Giants would not go amiss, certainly. Similar to Unleashed, but without the basics rules rehash, there would be a second publication, simultaneous or otherwise, for the not-so-recognized nation-states and powers from the shadows, which would cover the remainder of the factions and races that we lorehounds, War Machine and Hordes and IKRPG players know and love. Secondary to this, as it is perhaps unreasonable to hope just as strongly for it, is more content about Zoo and Orgoth. The former has only a few articles in No Quarter about them, while the latter are, for all their importance to the evolution of the setting, strangely unknown. That said, part of their appeal is the mystery, macabre as it is. However, this dive into what are admittedly more secondary and tertiary players in the setting is no doubt many months away. So, in the meantime, here's looking forward to the arrival of Collision Course for Warcaster Neo Mechanica, something I'd like to look further into as far as lore is concerned, and especially that of the Empyreans, because they are, unsurprisingly, the game's first non-human race. Anyway, while much of the game's lore is isolated to the rulebook, what's there is worth studying in how it links back to the Hengehold Scrolls and Oblivion campaign. This then ties into the hope for more in-depth background content released for the Warcaster setting, which I know I'm not alone in. Relevant to the current Kickstarter and IKRPG, do let me know what you're looking forward to in the new RPG, whether it's gameplay or world-building content, or perhaps what sort of character you wish to play in your first Requiem campaign. For myself, a friend who is the local GM will run a campaign soon after release, so when the time comes, I'm contemplating dramatizing the campaign into a one-man radio show or audiobook sort of a deal. Depends how well I transcribe notes for it and see whether you guys are interested in it, but it's still some months away. So, until next time.